everybody, this is Miss Lauren, and today I am going to teach you how to make a family recipe that my mom taught me how to make that we put out every year around Christmas. They're called cinnamon cream cheese roll-up cookies. And I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit to show you the ingredients that you'll need and the equipment that you'll need. So first we have our lovely mixing bowl, and you're going to want a loaf of, this is important, you want Pepperidge Farm very thin white bread. You could get regular bread if you want, but it's easier to do thin bread because you're gonna be slicing off the crust. I'll show you, and you don't need to You're going to have to flatten the bread, but you don't need to flatten the thin bread so much. So it saves some time when putting the cookies together. Also, you're gonna need some sugar, um, eggs, cream cheese because they are cream cheese roll-ups, and some butter, and you will need some cinnamon and sugar for spreading across the cookies. I also have two other little bowls here, and I'll show you what they're for um, when we get to that point, and measuring cups. Okay, so I have my bread, and now I am going to cut off the sides of the crust. So this is what your bread's going to look like. And again, if you're using regular white bread, then you are going to have to use a rolling pin to flatten it. But if you're using the very thin Pepperidge Farm bread, then you don't need to do anything. You're all set. Okay, so now that I've finished cutting the bread, I'm setting it aside, and it's time to mix up the filling for the cream cheese roll-ups. So I start with the cream cheese. I've already softened it in the microwave. What I did was I put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds, and then I turn it off and start again for another 10 seconds, and then so on and so forth. Like do 10 seconds, pause, another 10 seconds, because if you do it all at once, it's going to melt, and you don't want that. Next, I'm going to take my egg, and while I'm thinking about it, I just want to let everybody know I'm going to be putting the recipe in the description, but it actually calls for 2 eggs and 2 bars of cream cheese. The reason why I'm shortening it is because I just can't eat as many cookies as the regular recipe calls for. So just keep that in mind. So with this recipe, you only want the yellow egg yolk. So I cracked it over a bowl and scooped out the yolk and left out the whites, which is the clear liquidy part. So now I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar to the bowl, dump it in there, and I'm going to use my big fork to stir everything around. So the cream cheese, the egg yolk, and the sugar. And you want to keep stirring until you get all the lumps out. Once you can see that the lumps are out, then you know the mixture is ready. So now that the cream cheese filling is done, it's time to move on to the next step. Remember those 2 bowls that I told you about? This one is full of melted butter. You'll want 2 sticks of melted butter. Put that in the microwave. And this bowl is going to be for the cinnamon and sugar. So you're going to need 1 cup of sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So you're going to stir them around, and then when you're all done, put them aside, And then we're going to start making the cream cheese roll-ups. So you're going to take a piece of bread and a knife and start spreading the cream cheese mixture across the bread, kind of like if you were spreading butter on the bread. Just really get it on there. Not too much, but enough to cover the whole slice. And then you're going to roll it up so it kind of looks like a log and cut it in half. Or if you have a big slice of bread, you can cut it in threes, but you want them to be bite-sized pieces, so they should look like this. Okay, and once you're done with that, we're going to put the cream cheese bowl aside for just a minute. And now it's time for the butter and the cinnamon and sugar. So you're going to dunk the cookie into the butter. That's going to allow the cinnamon and sugar to stick. And then you'll roll it around in the cinnamon and sugar mixture. And then place it in the baking tray. That's another thing that's important. You do not want to bake these cookies on a cookie sheet because they ooze as they're baking and the butter and the cinnamon and sugar will get everywhere and make a huge mess. So make sure you put it in a baking pan. So just keep on doing that. Spread the cream cheese across the bread slice, roll it up, dunk it in the butter, and then roll it around in the cinnamon and sugar. And I find it's faster to finish spreading the cream cheese across the bread slices first and have that done, and then just keep, dunking them in butter and cinnamon and sugar. Another thing, you will almost certainly run out of butter, cinnamon, and sugar before you're finished. So, just keep on adding butter, cinnamon, and sugar to the bowls as you need them. So once they're all lined up in the pan and ready to go, you want to put the oven at 325 degrees and bake them not at the bottom shelf, but the second to bottom shelf for 25 minutes, and then they're all done. And once they're finished baking, give them some time to cool and then stick them in some Ziploc bags and either put them in the freezer, or if you're planning to serve them today or the next day, you can put them in the refrigerator. You want to eat them cold. So there you go. Those are cinnamon cream cheese roll-ups, and they're delicious, and my family eats them every Christmas. But you could eat them for any winter holiday. You could even bake them in like the summer, because again, they're cold, so they're a nice, cool treat to eat. I hope you enjoy them, and have a great day.